Let's talk about power. The power sector continues to dominate the headlines due to poor services and continued collapse of the national grid. A report by Standard Bank in August showed that power supply struggles make the country lose about $26 billion annually. The national grid collapsed 3 times after that report. Now, joining us for more discussion on this issue is the MD CEO of the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors, ANED, Sunday Odunton. Sunday Odunton, thank you so much for joining us on Journalist Hangout.
Very much. Thank you.
Sunday Odunton, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, so let's start with the report by the Standard Bank in August that said that Nigeria loses $26 billion due to power issues. Yes, talk to us. What are the issues? What are the root causes of this?
Thank you very much. The first thing that we all need to understand is that there has been a neglect of the power sector by various successive governments in the last 50 years. I want us to also agree that whatever you failed to do in 1984 is 2024. So as a result of that, all the problems that we've been having over the years are cumulative. Number one is lack of investment. Number two is our failure to grow our power sector in accordance with our population. It's not about blaming anybody or any particular government, but it is about all of us. Because in the first instance, I mentioned another fora, I mentioned the 10-year period. As an example, between 1989 and 1999, Nigeria had 4 leaders, 4 heads of state. As in 1989, we had General Ibrahim Babangida, followed by Chief Nekon, followed by General Sani Abacha, followed by General Absalam Abubakar. 10-year period, among these 4 gentlemen, they did not build a single power plant. And Nigerian population grew massively in that period. Those are the problems. Today, we are roving between 4,500, 5,000, or 5,000. But the problem with that is that as of today, we need a minimum of 30,000 megawatts for those that are currently connected to the grid. So many villages are not connected to the grid. And for those that are connected to the grid, we need a minimum of 30,000 megawatts. How do we get there? The cost of producing electricity is not cheap. That's why I said we can look at failure of government, failure of operators, and failure of Nigerian people. Because even when this electricity is produced, people like stealing it right and left. We should not have failed to continue to appeal to our people. Energy theft is a major problem. Even when government have tried to at least do things, as of today, I can say that electricity has improved in this country compared with 10 years ago when we started this privatization. So while we are not where we are supposed to be, I can also say that at least we've moved forward a bit. Look at Band A. Right now, that's a message to say we are inching towards 24-hour electricity. But people are not telling us, I don't want Band A. To come back to Band A. Because I don't want to pay for Band A. These are the issues. It's about investment.
All right, thank you.
Not so much about...
All right. So, CKN, let me also come to you. The grid collapsing 105 times in 10 years. If you're to propose a solution, how do we get out of this?
Let's leave how it collapsed in the past 10 years and concentrate what's happened in the last few months.
In the last few months?
This year alone.
Let us this year alone. Because what we started saying 10 years is too far. We had system collapse 3 times within 2 days or 1 week. It has never happened in the history of Nigeria. But let me just take us a bit back. And that's why I don't want to go back 10 years. In 2015, 2014, 2015, when the APC was campaigning for election, I remember that President Buhari told Nigerians that he will add 10,000 megawatts into the system every year. 10,000 megawatts. That was what he promised Nigerians. In 8 years, you know how much that would have come to? That is 80,000
megawatts.
But when Buhari was leaving in 2023, we were still within 4,000 megawatts. Then you ask yourself, what was the problem? I know that we have issues in the past, the issue of cement, the issue of all the rot. But you ask yourself, how do we find ourselves here? A country of over 200 million people. And he is talking about, there have been improvement in the past, this thing, and those in Bande. How many people are in Bande in Nigeria? Most of our, that is it. Most of our rural areas are not, even the cities are not connected. And you continue to ask yourself, a country like South Africa, of probably less than 80 million people, even with what they have, which is close to about 40 or 50,000, they are still crying that they don't have enough. They don't have enough. So anybody coming to tell us that, oh, now we are not. The fact remains that, first of all, we made a mistake when we saw this goes to people that know next to nothing about electricity. And they just said it to the OK boys. Today, they cannot be able to add. They are not even putting any money to be able to prove it. Now we have three, just as a roundup. Three, we have the issue of generation, transmission, and distribution. Ask yourself, each of those three, where have we improved? Most of the equipment we are using are equipment that were installed as far back as 1960. What have they done to be able to improve?
Now, you talk about equipment. Let me go to BKO right now. BKO, many Nigerians thought the Siemens deal was supposed to solve this issue. I want to have your thoughts on that. Why has it not worked? Why are we still in this situation?
You've asked me this question before, and I told you that Siemens is not equipped for the job that was offered. So they do not have a record in service delivery in this power sector. That is not the fact that you are capable of making solid equipment, does not mean that they should give you a job to do in the power sector. You must put round pegs in round holes. I said it at that time that Siemens was not equipped for the job that was given. We are seeing the results. I've been here for years now. What have we seen? You see, we need investment across generation, transmission, and distribution. What Nigerians do is they are always attacking the discourse alone. And I do not blame them, because there's a lot of ignorance, There's a lot of ignorance peddling going on when people are analyzing the problems of the power sector. You do not talk about transmission all the time, because the discos are the closest to us. They are the people we see. We do not see the gencos. When gencos don't have electricity, when they do not have gas supply and they cannot generate, people only talk about it. It's the discourse that we always like to abuse because of the
closeness to the people.
Character ignorance. It is about ignorance. You must first know what each of these relay legs in the power sector do. If you do not generate enough, do you then expect the discourse to perform miracles? If you do not will enough to the discourse, if the transmission leg does not will enough, what do you then expect the discourse to do? It's a relay. Everyone must play his part. Everyone must function optimally. Today, those who will tell you the truth will tell you that talking about the transmission, TCN, a lot of the equipment are old. Some of them are more than 40 years old, and yet we want results. So we must invest heavily across the board, generation, transmission, and distribution. That is the way we can guarantee results. It's not to simply identify, even energy thieves, they too are abusing this course. Those who are not prepared to, who bypass meter, they too is this course that they are abusing.
Energy thieves.
If we want results, we must, yes, if we want results, we must concentrate. We must look at the whole gamut of the power sector and ask ourselves, look at the Minister of Power saying the other day that Nigerians have no longer buy petrol because electricity is now constant. The question that somebody who is not ignorant will ask is, what quantity of electricity is generated? We've not moved beyond 5,000 megawatts. So a country that is doing 4,000 plus on the average, a country that really does above 5,000 is saying that electricity is constant. Where is it constant? And even when 5,000 megawatts is produced, is generated, how much is TCN able to will? How much is TCN? Sometimes when they do, I remember when they moved across ahead of 5,313 megawatts. That was a shutdown the next day. They cannot even sustain it. So we have all kinds of problems. We need to know what the problems are.
Okay. All right. Adekunle Yusuf, the Minister of Power. Okay, he also said, the VK has talked about one of the things he said. He also said, why are you laughing? But he also said that the power, it will take 2 years to sort out the issue in the power sector. How reliable is this? Is this not too long?
Unfortunately, I don't see him even sorting out anything. So when he's now projecting 2 years of just expecting nothing, when you put nothing on nothing. You see, the sector has been in serious crisis before this government.
Okay.
And so far, I've never seen any concrete plan that somebody is working and that we can now say, let's make some projections. The other day, they were talking about band A, band. Please, in South Africa, the example can be copied. When you have all of this, why don't you put all your businesses on band A? But they rush to criminalize poverty. People who have money come to band A, the universities, public hospitals. Before you know it, they created another set of problems. The problem is deep, and we need people who are really committed, from government to the private sector, to be able to do it. In the area of grid modernization, Nigeria is not doing anything in this regard.
Okay.
National grid modernization, talk to those who are there. You will be sorry for our country. We need huge investment to modernize that aspect. We need to come to invest in power generation. Of course, we've had that several times during the last administration. We haven't yet seen the results.
Okay.
We need to do heavy investment in infrastructure around transmission and generation and distribution as well. So in those 3 areas, 4 areas, what have we achieved? During Jonathan regime, we are talking about 4,000 megawatts, 3,500. Today, we are still talking about the same thing. So I don't want to talk about the power minister, because each time he speaks, I wonder if he understands the problems. And that's why I always just want to. How can somebody say that in 2 years you will solve the problems? Throughout the life of this administration, possible 8 years, they will still be solving the problems, because it's not a magic thing. It's not like other sectors where you can just order.
Okay.
Many of these things you have to before they manufacture,
All right, we still have joining us via Zoom the MD CEO of Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors, Sunday Odunton. All right, so nice to still have you here. But I want to ask, is it possible to have like a redundancy, like a spinning reserve or idle power, at both generation and transmission to deal with stresses on the grid that we cannot predict? Is it possible?
Thank you very much. It is possible, but let me be honest with you. Number one, two things are required by TCN to stabilize the power grid. We need SCADA, which is an equipment that we're talking about for a long time. We were told last week by the TCN MD that now 70% completed that will come on stream. And we need, like rightly said, spinning reserve. But you see, when you talk about spinning reserve, in layman's language, what it simply means is that if you have enough, you need to have extra. So as people demand for more power, now bringing reserve. So when you don't have enough, where will you get the extra? You have 4 children in the house. The food you have in the house is only enough for 3 children, and you say you want to have another extra plate of rice. Keep that by the side. What about the first person who has no eating? So we have this problem. Usually we should all accept that there are children, and we should all come towards solution rather than naming, blaming, and claiming. It is saddening my heart when I hear our friend media talking about power sector and the job will change into. Power sector problem started when they spoke to people who know nothing about power. That's a very long thing. But again, out for in fact, the president should if he cannot talk words, if he cannot reach the president, well, he should talk to people outside government who can tell him, because I'm not sure the president is aware of the enormity of this problem.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sunday Odunton. Sunday Odunton is the MD CEO of Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors, ANED. Thank you so much for joining us on Journalist Hangouts, having this conversation with us. All right, so, gentlemen, states can now generate electricity. We saw that one in the last administration. And how many states have started this? Are they showing the willingness to power up their states?
Very good question. The states have the wherewithal, some of them. And that is what we've always called for restructuring of the Nigerian Federation. So that states can give power to states to be able to perform. We saw what happened during the First Republic. Most of the development that you are seeing in the Southwest was because of cocoa. In the Southeast, it was coal. In the North, it was granite. And healthy
rivalry.
Yes, I talk about Kogi State. And that's what I was talking about, Kogi State and the issue of airports.
Okay.
For goodness sake, if the governor had said that he's going to build a rail line between Kogi and probably Abuja, and some of these other things, I'm telling you that would have had a lot of, development. Because if you look at the iron ore that is in Kogi State,
okay,
you are talking about power distribution. Enugu State has become the first state in Nigeria. You know that they're into distribution now, and they're practically taking it off, and they're already they are doing well from the report I'm getting. If every other state in the zone, there was one in Abia State. You've forgotten the one that happened in Aba recently.
But is that for Abia State? It's private.
No. It's supposed to be private.
It's an Abia State.
Yes, Abia. Yeah, no, it was private. It was the former Minister of Power.
Yes, Nigeria, exactly.
Yes, but it's still part of what we're talking about. But there's no way whatever is generating, he cannot consume it. It's going to sell it out. It's Abia people, go to Abia people.
Okay.
And I will tell you that we cannot have any meaningful development if we don't get our power sector right. The SMEs have collapsed in Nigeria. Even the so-called big ones are disappearing on a daily basis because of energy. So that is why I think that our current government, if we can focus on energy, if that's only the, don't forget what Obasanjo did with telecom. That transformed Nigeria. Telecom alone. If we can be able to get it right in the energy sector.
Do you like that?
We are talking about the minister saying in 2 years. The one of the petroleum that told us that our refinery will be ready in December. What happened to it? Is it working now? That is the question. Let us not believe most of these rhetorics. Let them give us action, which is why some of us believe that these ministers that President changed, he has not changed enough. Some still have to go if we must get it right. That's my personal opinion.
All right, BKO. BK, are you still there with me? Hello, BK, are you still there? Okay, I think we kind of lost BK. But anyway, we're talking about states. States can now generate. What are your thoughts on that? Are they showing the willingness to actually power up their states here?
You want to see the example in Akwa Ibom. Long before even the sector was, liberalized. Decentralized. The state had already, and the commissioning, everything came at the right time when then President Muhammadu Buhari was signing the law that has opened up the space. When you are forward-looking, you know what you want to do. Instead of committing the state resources to big, white elephant projects, some of which we have talked about, you can do things where there is constant electricity.
Yes.
The businesses, small,
will thrive,
and big businesses will flock there. And the rate of crime will reduce because most Nigerians don't need, handouts from government to survive. They can do things for themselves. People like, in hairdressing, barber, all those things. Now, if big businesses realize, because it is better, it is far cheaper to be on electricity, public electricity. Where there is electricity, businesses will rush to go and establish.
All right, let's, BK, are you back with me?
I can barely hear you people. I don't know whether you can hear me.
Okay, we can hear you. We can hear you. What are your thoughts on it for private involvement in the power sector or in the states? What are your thoughts on that?
I thought about what?
From private
states
coming to the electricity
sector, as it has been
yes, that is the way to go. We need more investment in the sector. It's highly capital intensive, and that's why you can see that there are not many players. So we need people to invest, even in alternative energy. I've talked before about India having an airport that runs 24 hours on solar. We rely so much on gas-fired power plants in our country. We need to look at other electricity generation sources, like hydro, for example. Brazil relies heavily on hydro. South Africa relies heavily on coal. We still have tremendous coal deposits in our country. So let's even try to look at other sources of electricity generation, so that we can complement what our three major hydro plants give us and what our gas-fired power plants led by EGNI, which is the biggest in West Africa, gives us this time.
All right, thank you so much, BKO. Thank you so much for your analysis this beautiful Sunday afternoon. And I want to say a big thank you to Adekunle Yusuf. Thank you very much for coming on Journalist Hangout to have this conversation. CKN, Chris Kennedy, thank you very much for having this conversation with me. And I want to say a big thank you to the gentlemen in the PCR and the MCR for also pressing the buttons appropriately for us to have a beautiful show. Thank you so much, guys. And that's all on Journalist